The window opens in less than 24 hours. Most people will feel the pressure and call it stress. Most people will feel the fire and call it bad luck. Most people will repeat the same reaction that has kept them trapped for years. But you were pulled here for a reason. You felt something building before there was language for it. The impatience, the strange heat in the body, the jaw tightening for no obvious cause, the sense that something old is standing in the doorway of your future. This is not random. This is not ordinary frustration. This is a strike point in the sky. Mars is moving toward Chiron in Aries, and when that contact becomes exact, the wound blocking your power can no longer hide behind routine. Before this window closes, you will understand three things. First, what this event is and why it returns as a rare checkpoint rather than a daily influence. Second, which signs are most affected and what this pressure demands from them now. Third, the specific practice that turns this from disruption into direction. Stay with this, because what breaks now was never meant to cage you. You have seen the pattern. You have felt yourself hesitate at the exact moment action was required. You have watched opportunities arrive and then somehow dissolve. You have known what to say, yet stayed silent. You have known what to leave, yet stayed seated. You have known what to begin, yet waited for perfect certainty that never came. That hidden pause has a root. That hesitation has architecture. And tonight the architecture shakes. Mars is force, motion, instinct, the surge that says move now. Chiron is the wound that teaches through pain, the scar tissue built around an old injury. Aries is identity, courage, first movement, raw life. Put them together and the sky does not whisper. It cuts directly to the blocked nerve. This is why your body may already know, before your mind agrees. Restlessness, head pressure, heat, rising in the chest. Dreams that feel louder than usual. A sudden urge to confront what you have tolerated. The nervous system often senses the threshold before the intellect catches up. Something in you is preparing to stop negotiating with what drains you. Within this same corridor, the sun has aligned with Mercury, bringing clarity and messages into the open. Mercury then moves into Gemini, accelerating thought, speech, and decisions. Revelation, activation, response. First the light turns on. Then the engine starts. Then the road appears. This is the sequence. This is the corridor. This is why delay feels more painful than movement right now. Many confuse pain with a sign to retreat. But there are two kinds of pain. The pain of remaining inside an expired identity, and the pain of growing beyond it. One shrinks you slowly. One transforms you quickly. Learn the difference. Because what arrives now may feel sharp, but sharpness is not always danger. Sometimes it is precision. Sometimes it is surgery. Sometimes it is the exact pressure required to remove what comfort has protected for too long. You are not being punished. You are being shown the cost of staying divided against yourself. Listen carefully over the next 24 hours. Notice where anger rises. Notice where impatience spikes. Notice what names appear in your mind without invitation. Notice what task you keep avoiding. Notice what truth makes your pulse quicken. These are not interruptions. They are coordinates. They point to the place where your power has been waiting under debris. Not gently, not later, now. Deep beneath astrology is an older principle. Life resists stagnation. Rivers move or they rot. Breath flows or it stops. Seasons turn or ecosystems collapse. Your own psyche follows the same law. When growth is delayed too long, pressure accumulates. It may appear as boredom, resentment, fatigue, or chronic self-doubt. But underneath those masks is trapped motion. Mars represents that trapped motion. Chiron represents the place where motion was once punished, shamed, or made unsafe. Perhaps you spoke boldly once and were rejected. Perhaps you took initiative and were humiliated. Perhaps you expressed anger and were taught to fear your own force. Perhaps you needed protection and received silence instead. The psyche remembers. It adapts. It creates protective rules. Do not be too visible. Do not ask directly. Do not risk conflict. Do not trust desire. Do not move first. Those rules can preserve you in one chapter. They can imprison you in the next. This conjunction exposes outdated survival laws. Aries does not ask permission to begin. Aries is the first spark in the dark field. Aries is the newborn cry, the athlete lunging from the line, the hand reaching for the unopened door. When CHIRON sits here, wounds form around identity itself. Who am I when I act? Am I safe when I lead? Do I deserve space? Can I want more? Mars arriving on CHIRON forces these questions out of theory and into sensation. You may feel irritated without knowing why. You may feel compelled to clear a room, cancel a plan, change a schedule, or speak a boundary. The reason is simple. Your system is rejecting what no longer matches your emerging self. Historical cycles matter here. Mars and CHIRON meet roughly every 2 years, but not always in Aries. In Aries, Mars is on home terrain. The symbolism intensifies. Action meets the wound on the battlefield of identity. This is why the event feels less like reflection and more like ignition. Some conjunctions ask you to think, this one asks you to move. Consider how long humanity has watched the sky for timing. Ancient builders tracked equinoxes, sailors navigated by stars, farmers planted by seasons. Even without modern language, people knew that cycles above mirrored cycles below. Whether one sees astrology as literal influence, symbolic timing, or psychological map, the function is similar. It gives language to patterns already unfolding. And your pattern is visible now. There is a threshold between the self that adapts and the self that acts. You are standing on it. This is why ordinary tasks may feel charged. A message can feel monumental. A conversation can feel fated. A minor inconvenience can trigger disproportionate rage. Energy trapped for months often exits through the nearest crack. Choose conscious release over accidental destruction. Move the body. Walk fast. Clean a neglected space. Write what you have been unwilling to admit. Channel the fire before it chooses its own direction. Fire unmanaged burns the house. Fire directed forges steel. The same force, the same heat, different outcome. And there is another layer. CHIRON does not erase wounds by pretending they never happened. CHIRON transforms wounds into wisdom through direct contact. You do not heal by circling the story forever. You heal by building new evidence, by acting differently now, by proving to your nervous system that the old consequence is not the only possible future. This is why one brave action in this window can echo for months. One boundary, one honest sentence, one application submitted, one habit broken, one number deleted, one first step. Tiny actions at the right moment can outweigh years of passive wishing. The sky is not asking for perfection, it is asking for participation. If you have felt suspended, this is why. If you have felt pressure with no visible source, this is why. If you have sensed that your next life is near, but blocked by something ancient and invisible, this is why. The blockage is becoming visible. Once visible, it can be challenged. Once challenged, it can be broken. Aries, this lands in your own sign. The spotlight is not on your schedule. It is on your identity. You may realize that the version of you others expect is no longer the version your soul can sustain. Old labels can feel suffocating now. You may notice anger where you once felt numbness. Good. Numbness often hides suppressed truth. The demand for you is courage without recklessness. Do not explode merely to feel movement. Choose a deliberate act that honors who you are becoming. Change the habit that insults your potential. Speak the truth you keep postponing. Lead where you have been waiting to be chosen. Your lesson is simple and severe. Power returns when you stop apologizing for existing. Libra, this activates the axis of relationship. Your instinct is often to preserve harmony, smooth conflict, and keep the bridge intact. But there are moments when harmony becomes self-erasure. This is one of them. You may see clearly where compromise turned into chronic betrayal of your own needs. A dynamic may reveal itself through irritation, attraction, or sudden exhaustion. Notice who drains you. Notice where you over-explain. Notice where peace requires your silence. The demand for you is balance rooted in truth, not politeness. Boundaries are not violence. Honesty is not cruelty. If a relationship can survive only when you disappear inside it, it is not stable. It is dependent on your disappearance. Reclaim your center. Cancer, the square from Aries, creates friction between emotional safety and necessary action. You often sense undercurrents before others do, which can make you cautious for good reason. But caution can become a fortress. This transit presses on areas where comfort has become confinement. Career matters, family roles, or emotional obligations may feel heavier than usual. You may be asked to choose growth over familiarity. That can feel like grief. Let it. Growth often carries grief because it ends an era. The demand for you is to protect your future as fiercely as you protect everyone else. Direct some care inward. Build a life that does not require constant, emotional overextension. You do not owe your destiny to old expectations. Capricorn, this square challenges structures, responsibilities, and identities built on endurance alone. You know how to carry weight. You know how to perform under pressure. You know how to keep climbing while others stop. But strength can harden into armor so thick that nothing living can reach you. This transit exposes where discipline became emotional avoidance. Work may feel more irritating. Family themes may surface. Hidden resentment may rise. The demand for you is not to abandon structure, but to humanize it. Success that costs your vitality is too expensive. Control that prevents intimacy is isolation by another name. Let one wall come down. Let one honest need be spoken. Your power expands when it includes vulnerability rather than excluding it. And for every sign not named, the message still applies. Find where Aries lives in your life, where action begins, where courage is required, where fear has worn the mask of practicality. That house of your chart becomes the theater of change. The symptoms matter now because the body often broadcasts what the conscious mind resists. Jaw tension can signal swallowed words. Headaches can follow internal conflict. Heat in the body can mirror mobilized anger. Exhaustion after emotional release can mean energy was spent suppressing what needed expression. None of this replaces medical care, but symbolically it matters. Your system speaks in sensation. Listen without dramatizing. Listen without dismissing. Listen with respect. Many people will misuse this transit. They will send revenge messages they later regret. They will mistake impulse for destiny. They will drive too fast, speak too harshly, train too hard, reopen old wars with no intention of resolution. Fire without consciousness seeks targets. Do not become one more person using pain as permission to create pain. Pause before impact. Ask whether the urge serves liberation or repetition. If it only repeats an old wound in louder form, it is not guidance. It is conditioning wearing armor. There is another path. Precision over chaos. Direction over discharge. Choose responses that build the future instead of reenacting the past. If rage rises, move the body first. Walk, stretch. Breathe hard. Clean something, then decide. If grief rises, let tears move without attaching them to a story of failure. If fear rises, ask what specific action would generate evidence of capability. The answer is usually smaller and closer than the mind claims. You do not need to solve your entire life tonight. You need one true movement. One aligned motion breaks paralysis. One clean decision interrupts drift. One honest boundary teaches the nervous system that safety and authenticity can coexist. This is how wounds lose authority. Not through theory. Through repeated evidence. Now the ritual. Take 10 minutes alone. No distractions. No performance. Sit or stand where you can breathe fully. Write this sentence exactly. The wound controlling my power is. Finish it without censoring yourself. Be precise. Then write one bold action you have delayed out of fear. One call, one application, one conversation, one cancellation, one beginning. Speak that action aloud. Let your own voice hear your own decision. Then move immediately. Send the email. Clear the room. Start the plan. Delete the number. Register the account. Make the appointment. Set the boundary. Physical movement seals psychic intention. Motion tells the body the era has changed. Delay tells the body the prison remains. Choose wisely. The next chapter rarely arrives with trumpets. It arrives disguised as a difficult but necessary action. It arrives as a sentence you can no longer unsay. It arrives as the moment you stop negotiating with your own potential. In less than 24 hours, Mars meets CHIRON. The wound blocking your power does not survive unchanged. Neither do you. If this message found you, trust what stirred when you heard it. Trust the friction. Trust the urgency. Trust the part of you that is tired of being managed by an old story. Step forward before the window closes. And when you do, notice who you become the moment you move.